Okay, I'm going to address the issue here of women and head coverings and modesty. And it may not be a popular issue, of course, but that's all the more reason for it to be addressed. It says in Isaiah 3:16, "Moreover the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion are proud, and walk with heads held high and seductive eyes, and go along with mincing steps, and tinkle the bangles on their feet," which to me would equate to high heels in today's world. They're click, clack, click, clack. Therefore the Lord will afflict the scalp of the daughters of Zion with scabs, and the Lord will make their foreheads bare. In that day the Lord will take away the beauty of their anklets, headbands, crescent ornaments, dangling earrings, bracelets, veils, headdresses, ankle chains, sashes, perfume boxes, amulets, finger rings, nose rings, festal robes, outer tunics, cloaks, money purses, hand mirrors, undergarments, turbans, and veils. And then it talks about verse 24, "Now it will come about that instead of sweet perfume there will be putrefaction, instead of a belt a rope, instead of well set hair a plucked out scalp, instead of fine clothes a donning of sackcloth, and branding instead of beauty." So you have that there about women and being immodest and all the different earrings and all that stuff. And then you've got 1 Peter 3 that says in verse 3, "Your adornment must not be merely external, braiding the hair and wearing gold jewelry or putting on dresses, but let it be the hidden person of the heart, with the imperishable quality of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is precious in the sight of God. For in this way, in former times, the holy women also, who hoped in God, used to adorn themselves, being submissive to their own husbands." That's part of what the head covering is about. "Just as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, and you have become her child if you do what is right without being frightened by any fear." So we've got that. We also have 1 Corinthians 11, and there are other places about like in Timothy, talking about do not have braiding of the hair merely external, but inside as well. And so we have that, but I'll look at 1 Corinthians 11, where it talks about it talks about Christ being the head of man being the head of woman, and that God being the head of Christ. Everything is under authority. Men are under authority of Christ. Christ is under the authority of God. So it's not just like women are under authority, but men are too. There's a scripture that talks about if a woman vows something but her husband hears about it and says not to, that it won't, denies the vow, that she is not held to it. But if he says nothing, then she is obligated to it. That's in Torah. And same thing as if she's not married, but her father hears of a vow and says something about it, then it's canceled. Otherwise, it's binding. And basically, 1 Corinthians 11 talks about having a head covering. And in verse 10, I want to look at this, that it says, therefore the woman ought to have a symbol of authority on her head because of the angels. So, because of the angels, and people will say that, verse 15 says, but if a woman has long hair, it is glory to her, for her hair is given to her for a covering. And people will argue, oh, well, the hair is the covering. Well, then why does it say that if a woman is uncovered, it is, verse 5, it says, but every woman who has her head uncovered, which is, if her hair is her covering, then this doesn't matter, has her head uncovered while praying or prophesying, as for she is one and the same as a woman whose head is shaved. So, obviously, one as if her head is shaved, that means that this woman doesn't have her head shaved. But she's like one if she doesn't cover her head. And if she didn't cover, let her hair be cut off. So, yes, people will say, oh, well, that's cultural. But when it comes down to it, it's a matter of being under authority, and a symbol to the angels is the key part. And that with modesty, it's about covering your shape. If you're like it talks about, not letting your outward appearance be merely external, but by good works and good deeds, that you show yourself. Why not look at it that way? Then, oh, I'm being oppressed. The head covering and wearing dresses is part of feminine, being feminine. To me, a dress, a long dress or long skirt is more feminine than anything else, than the makeup or the heels or any of that stuff. And honestly, personally, I'm very honored and feel more like a man when a woman is wearing a long dress. And the thing of head covering is a symbol of her covenant with God. That's why she would be attractive to me if she's single. It's so, I mean, this may be hard for people to understand, but I just seek that women dress accordingly and they will be blessed. I mean, the whole fashion show thing just doesn't cut it. You don't have to put on a fashion show. If you're married, you're not going to wear makeup in front of him every minute of every day. So the question is, who's the show for? Is it for your husband or for the world? So hopefully, and for me, there was a struggle that I had with women wearing heels. And some were going to struggle with some guys, and people will say, oh, well, that's legalism, or that's their deal. But it's all about our heart. Are we doing something that would cause people to stumble? Part of the love is avoiding doing things that make others stumble, but it's your glory to be modest. It's your glory to have long hair. It's your glory to wear a head covering. It shows how beautiful, like a Proverbs 31 woman is. It's your beauty. So, I realize that this is hard and it's not cultural, but we're not meant to just fit in with culture. We can do way too much of that.